Hi everybody, this is BB Davis. You're locked in to BB Loves Sports, where sports and gaming is the exquisite fusion. Welcome to the Sunday edition, everybody. And let me start off by saying to you, happy homecoming to everybody celebrating homecoming this weekend. And some people will still stick around. Some people have started to travel back to their destinations. Safe travel. We hope you had a ball for your homecomings. Also, we want to send love to others who had their homecomings earlier. We hope the memories last and last and last. And before I get started with all of the sport talk and sprinkling in some beautiful technology talk, happy birthday to my mother. I celebrated with her. We had a wonderful time, and it continues. You know, we do like the birthday seasons. So if you're out there for Libra seasons and October's very own, happy birthday to you. Love you, Mom. And there's more to come. All right, so speaking of my mom, and let's just talk about it. Mom, even my dad, okay, which I call Da, their homecoming was this weekend, and so was mine. But we did not attend. But the great thing about technology is that if you don't attend and you got some good day ones, as well as social media, you can have a ball. And that's exactly what happened. My video calls, my texts, my calls, then social media. It was better than nothing. Okay, and I think a lot of people can say that. If you can't get there for whatever reason, then if you have the access, some really good friends, to, if you have some access to some really great technology, then it's almost like you're in the house, but not in the house. On the yard, but not on the yard, you know? All right, and so, also too, sunny, it was so beautiful, lake life, and then it's like a switch. The sun is gone, and so I don't know if the overcast skies are coming in. Of course, it's spooky season. We might have some outside noise because a lot of people get really zippity zip zip zip. When so if we hear some outside noise, it starts to get the late life people having their balls or just coming back in town or anything like that. Going to get something, or let's get started. Okay. All right. So we want to talk about some games. I was supposed to be in the booth, okay, for this game, which was South Carolina State facing off with North Carolina Central. Okay, really good game, both MEAC, and of course, the tables have turned quite a bit from last year because South Carolina State Bulldogs were the champions, okay, at the Celebration Bowl in Atlanta. All right, so now it's Central leading in the MEAC, but then with this close game, and it would just be me not being in the press booth for such a climatic game. But I want to thank the athletic department of South Carolina State because they did keep me up to date on the game, and then myself, I kept myself up to date on the game. And it was just really, really great. But there's nothing like being there, seeing these plays. But here's what's happening. And I know that the Bulldogs were very, very happy because this puts them back in a very interesting spot. Okay? All right. So let's talk about it. The defending MEAC champions that took down Jackson State in Atlanta when all the odds were in the favor of Jackson State was the South Carolina State Bulldogs, and they would win this game 24-26. So by 2, it could have been by 1. At least it wasn't a tie or anything like that, or going into overtime. You know, those scenarios, which you kind of mix up and blend up in. But yes, like NFL. But let's give a shout out here to Corey Fields Jr. and also Shaquan Davis. These are my notes. Okay. Now, Corey Fields, he finished out of his 31 passings. And then he had a pickup of 264 yards. Then Trey, one of those... Okay, let me just stop. I'm in such a glorious mood. I'm be throwing a lot of jabbers here. Okay, he had 3 touchdowns. All right, a trio. And then Shaquan comes in and he did like 6 passes. He caught the 6 passes and he went for like 115, 116 yards. And then he had 2 of those 3 touchdowns. So I thought that was really, really good. If you look at this score, and I wasn't there, but I can just quite imagine. And that's how it was told to me. And, you know, I would love to look at the film. It was definitely tet for tet. Okay. With the scores. There were, in this matchup, 7 ties. And various lead changes. You just had to have bated breath. You just couldn't even breathe easy. It was intense. But sometimes that's how a lot of people love the games to be. Okay? So, both are really great contenders here. Central, they did take the lead. And then from there, after taking the lead, then you had the Bulldogs that just would not stop. And so going into the third quarter, it was just that nice little celebration there for the Eagles. And then South Carolina State, they answered with that combo of Corey Fields and Shaquan Davis. That was those touchdowns that came in the fourth quarter. And after that, it was the win, giving the Daggers to the Eagles. Okay, so check that score again. 26-24. Congratulations to the Bulldogs. Howard University celebrated their homecoming based off of Delaware State. 35-17. Handle business. It's great to win your homecoming games. And so, this is the opponent upsetting all the way around the boards Delaware, which came to play. You had Quentin Williams, which is the quarterback for Howard. It is no secret that he had a concussion, but then he bounced it on back. And the Bisons were there to let the homecoming. Might be a little bit of setbacks, but we have the dominance to win this game here. They would have 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and it was a spectacular performance there. What a lot of people say, a thrilling performance there by Delaware State's quarterback C.J. Henry. Just couldn't get it done. Howard doing the SWAC surfing. If you look at the social media, a lot of people were very critical of that, kind of mixing in a little bit of homecoming with these games. And they were saying a lot of people inside of like an atrium doing the SWAC surfing. You can see the tape online. That it was very dangerous holding that capacity of people on the inside. Some people noted about some dangerous accidents that happened from another school that was pretty much the same way, having all those people inside the atrium, up and down on those balconies and stairs, that could have been too much weight. So, you know, if you want to make sure that you... Well, no, that wasn't Howard. Hold on, everybody. Spooky season. That was... Was that Norfolk? I think so. Check the tape. But it wasn't Howard. But they did talk about how Howard had a lot of people on the grounds of for the performances. And Howard does boast a big homecoming. And so they were just saying it was lackluster. Everybody didn't look thrilled. But you had Norfolk answer back with everybody on the atrium. Let's get it correct. And then everybody was saying, not safe. Okay, so let's just be wise and aware of where we hold the big crowds. It's best to have it outside, be safe instead of on platforms that could be too much weight for the platforms. All right, so congratulations to Howard for winning their homecoming. That score again, 35, and Delaware State, 17. Okay, Jackson State. All eyes was on Jackson State. That wanted to have all eyes on Jackson State for their homecoming as well, facing off with Campbell. That score, which a lot of people felt was going to be more of a blowout, but we're not seeing more of a blowout, but they're still getting their wins and still undefeated, so you can't take that away from them. But they would win it, Jackson State 22 to Campbell's 14. So let's talk about it. Okay, in the first half, Jackson kicked 3 field goals. Let's think about that. In the first half. So not the completed touchdowns, but field goals. So what does that tell me? Pressure applied there. And so still leading, even at halftime. But to take 3 field goals and not getting that completed touchdown in the first half, then that gives some credit to Campbell. Things that need to be adjusted there for Jackson State. All right. So then you had Shadur Sanders to DJ Stevens, and then that brought a touchdown run. Okay. And then from there, Tigers defense started to get lit by R.B. Miller, 13 tackles. So then Jackson State goes from 6-0 to 7-0. All right, so congratulations to Jackson State. Texas Southern takes off 34, Alcorn State 27. And always, you can look at the offense, you can look at the defense, but that defense has to be on. So there you have it. That's what brought in the win there with Texas Southern. All right. And then you have North Carolina A&T face off with Robert Morris. G-Ho, which is greatest homecoming on earth, is going to be happening this coming weekend. So North Carolina is going to be that look to. Of course, you have other homecomings that we will run down. Richmond, 41, Hampton would take the loss at 10. Delaware faces off with Morgan State. Delaware, 38, Morgan State, 7. Tennessee State face off with Eastern Illinois. 37 for Tennessee State. All right. Eastern Illinois, 17. 45, Mississippi Valley 35. State. So that was a 10-point gain there. So Bethune-Cookman would take that one. Southern, 51, Virginia University of Lynchburg, 7. Nice blowout there. That's also going to be Prairie View A&M with 54 and Lamar 21. Let's lock it in. So with the MEAC, let's go back to that. MEAC is now 3-4. Howard 2-5. North Carolina Central 5-2, and with Delaware State 4-3. Norfolk State 1-6, and Morgan State 2-5. In the SWAC, you have Jackson State, Florida A&M 7-0 with the 5-2. Alabama A&M 3-4. Alabama State, excuse me. Well, this would be a good time to get on some live action and show you my chrome skull. I was doing a lot of talking. Despite not being in the booth, a lot of voiceovers and stuff like that. Okay, so getting back to from the SWAC East over to the SWAC West. You had Southern, and then you had Prairie View 5 and 4 and 3. Texas Southern 3 and 4. Alcorn State 3 and 4. Arkansas Pine Bluff 2 and 5, and Grambling State 1 of 6. So stay locked in, and we come back. All right, let's talk SIAC football standings here. Want to give a shout out, well deserved there, for Benedict with the 6-0 in the conference. Then you had Albany State. Albany State is 4-1, and this is SIAC East. Clark Atlanta 2 and 3. Fort Valley State 3 and 1. Edward Waters 2 and 3. Savannah State 2 and 4. Allen 0 of 5, and Morehouse 0 of 5 for conference. Overall, Benedict 8 and 0. Albany State 6 and 2. Fort Valley State 6 and 1. Clark Atlanta 3 and 4. Edward Waters 2 of 6. Savannah State 3 of 5. Allen 1 of 6, and Morehouse 0 of 8. In the West, Tuskegee in the conference 5 and 0, overall 6 and 2. Kentucky State 3 and 1, conference 4 of 4 overall. Lane 3 of 2, conference. Miles 1 of 3, overall 4 conference, and 4. 1 of 7 overall. Central State 1 of 4, conference, and 2 of 6 overall. So for the SIAC, we're going to take a look here at the record of Benedict, having the undefeated record. Faced off early on with Elizabeth City State. That was a home game. They would win that 58-14. Then they would go on the road to Lane in Jackson, Tennessee with 14 and 0. Savannah State would come to Benedict in Columbia, South Carolina, with a win for Benedict 24-6. Then Kentucky State on the home turf of Benedict 40-14. At Fort Valley State, Benedict Tigers would get on the road. They would face off with Fort Valley. They would still win. Then Miles would come to Benedict 23. At Albany State, they would win 24-20. At Morehouse, they would win 35-0. Clark Atlanta is coming up on the 29th. In Columbia, that will be their homecoming. Starts at 3 p.m. And then November the 5th, at Allen, face off. They're right across the street from one another. Always a good game. Always a good matchup. Columbia, South Carolina at 2 p.m. That's the last game for them. So they've shown a lot of great dominance there. So we are going to give it up for some love for the SIAC. Let's talk about CIAA football standings here. And we have for the conference and overall in the league is Virginia Union. Take off my readers for this one. Virginia Union is right there with a nice streak. Chowan for the conference record 5 of 1 and overall record 5 of 3. Virginia State 4 of 2 and 5 of 3 overall record. Bowie State 3 and 3 sitting right there in conference, and then overall record 4 of 4. Elizabeth City State would hold 2 of 4 in the conference record. And overall, 2 of 4 and 2 of 6. Lincoln, PA, 1 of 4 in the conference and 2 of 5 overall. And this is Northern Division. Southern Division, you got Fayetteville State holding at 5-1 in the conference and 6-2 overall. Shaw, 3 of 3 in conference, and Winston-Salem State 2-3, 2-5. Johnson C. Smith University, their homecoming. They face off with Fayetteville. 2 of 4 in the conference and 2 of 5 overall. Livingston would be 1 of 5 and 2 of 5. St. Augustine would be 1 of 5 and 1 of 7. So let's take a look here for Johnson's season. If they did face off with Fayetteville State, the score for their homecoming was 21-13, so they would take that loss. Their win over the games would be with Elizabeth City State, where it was 49-14, and with Shaw University, and that was 22-18. There was a no contest when they faced Allen University, and with that no contest, they do have online for you to take a look at that game and just see it in its entirety of what took place. And then you could go and take a look at the scores that have yet to come as far as with the recap. And that was on yesterday with Fayetteville State. Again, that score was 21-13. The Golden Bulls did not win their homecoming game, but it was a really great homecoming nevertheless. So next week they go to Winston-Salem State. That game is going to be at 1 p.m. And then they will still travel on the road to Livingston. That game will be at 1:30 p.m. And then after that, more announcements. Let's take a look at Virginia Union leading in the Northern Division. All wins, and you can see some of those recaps if you go online to the CIAA.com and then put /schedule. They took those wins against Virginia University of Lynchburg, Valdosta State, Livingston College, Fayetteville, St. Augustine's, Elizabeth City, Bowie. Then they go on the road for Chowan on the 29th. And then November the 5th, they face off with Virginia State University. Last game face-off was with Bowie State. And that was 27-24. Very close. So you can go take a look at those individual stats. And it's a good day for HBCU. Now, there's a lot of talk. We have Shedeur Sanders, quarterback for Jackson State, facing off with Michael Strahan of the NFL, talking all things Heisman. Also talking about how you can get those endorsements like many of the PWI, predominantly white institutions, get for their players. You can find that at Jackson State. Well, we want to make sure that when everything is rolled out, it's not just one. And this is where all of the conferences start to have this and conversation. And not just one conference having the conversation, or just looking at one school that's having the conversation. How do you roll this out where you can have that equal playing field with so many good players? Even if it's not of the same endorsement, but what kind of endorsements and, what do you have in play? You have a lot of people talking in the comments that as much as the talks are there for the Heisman, it's just not enough. It's hyped. Maybe taken into consideration are those numbers and the teams that they have played and win against. And the stats of Shedeur Sanders is not even a conversation to even have for the Heisman. But through all of this, it's very interesting talk. It's very provocative talk. Look at things half full instead of saying half empty. Keep a positive vibration and then just see what will happen down the line if nothing starts to happen in the here and in the now. But it's good getting those good looks and everything like that. You want to just focus not just on one particular institution, but how does this go with others? You know, because I would say that we have a lot of great sponsors and endorsers and people who just pledge behind getting those for students, those athletes, for the whole alumni coming together and giving back. It's always been that natural way for the HBCU institutions of all sports, but mainly many people particularly focusing on football and on basketball. But the patrons and the endorsements has been there. Keep elevating. So we'll see what happens. Make sure you keep it locked right here with me, BB Davis, as we go through homecoming, as we go through other football of the college level, and then we will make our way to the NFL. I have a feeling, though, that I've gotten obliterated. But it's a good thing because it keeps things very interesting in the world of sports. So stay locked in with me, BB, right here at BB Loves Sports, where sports and gaming is the exquisite fusion. Happy homecoming to everybody. We're going to run down the list when I come back.
Thanks for watching.
Just see what happens.